Hey everyone, it's Shayna, and I am here with 6 things I wish I knew when I first started planning. So the first thing is, I wish I knew that I need my planner to be both decorative and functional. So over the years of being in the planner community, I've seen a lot of debate over the decorative side of planning versus the functional side of planning. And there's a lot of people that believe that you cannot be functional if you have an overload of decor. And I am here to say that is incorrect. Whatever you need to be able to open your planner and enjoy looking at it every day is better than having a completely minimal planner that you never look at. Case in point. I have tried the minimal look many times in my planner. I love looking at the minimal aesthetic in other people's planners. Not so much in my own. If I go too simple, too minimal, I stop using my planner. It's boring to me. For my planner, not for other people's planners. Like I said, I love seeing the minimal aesthetic in other people's planners. For me personally, I get bored and I stop using my planner. So for me, I need both. It's the power of and, a word choice, and over or. I need it to be decorative and functional. I need it to be both. I need to open my planner and think that it's cute, but also get stuff done. And even if I overload it with stickers and washi and all kinds of decor and stuff, so long as it's still functional, that's what matters to me. So the second thing I wish that I knew before I started planning was that I don't need the newest thing, every single newest thing, unless it's actually gonna work for me. So I think we've all kind of had this happen where we've all, like, especially when you first joined the planner community and you were seeing all the goodies you didn't even know existed, and you're seeing all these things and you're like, I just want that. I'll find a reason to use it. I'll find a reason. And then you're like 70 notebooks and planners in, and you've got more washi than you know what to do with, and you can't even find all of your stickers because there's so many of them. I'm talking from experience. Once you get to that point and you're not really using the stuff you had, you're just buying more and more and more. To me, at least, it was kind of suffocating. I tried every new planner, when pocket rings became a thing, like a big thing, however many years ago. It kind of came back now, but however many years ago, I jumped into pocket rings. And like the Hobonichi Weeks craze, when that first became like a really big thing, I jumped into that too. And I made reasons to have it in my head. I was like, oh, that could work for this. This is what I'll use it for. And that was kind of the opposite, where I found an item and I was like, I really want this item. What do I use it for? Oh, I'll use it for this. Well, it kind of needs to be the opposite, right? Where you're like, well, I have this need. What can I use for this need? And it took me a long time to get to that point. Not saying everybody has to, but for me, having all this stuff was just absolutely suffocating. I couldn't do it anymore. I ended up destashing most of my washi. I ended up destashing most of my pens, my stickers, I sold almost all of my planners. I got rid of a lot of stuff because it was so suffocating to me having all these items that I knew I would never get through in my lifetime. Especially because I was still buying new stuff. So I destashed and sold a lot of stuff. I stopped buying as many things. I'm trying to use the stash that I have. I keep looking down because a lot of my stash is actually right in front of me. I just dug it out after our move. So there's a lot of it sitting right in front of me, and that is kind of suffocating. So I wish I was able to tell myself beforehand that I don't need all the things that I'm going to make work for me, because they're not gonna work. Number 3 is kind of a contradiction to number 2 in a sense, but number 3 is try new things. So, yes, on one hand, I wish that I hadn't bought all those new planners. I hadn't tried every single trend, and just because you can, right? Like, you want to try the new things because you can. What if that works for you, right? I wish I hadn't done that, but at the same time, I am kind of glad that I did at least try all the new planners. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Haven't tried them all. Because I was able to kind of keep that in my brain of, well, okay, this isn't working for this. I don't really have a need for this. I made up a reason to use this. I don't need this right now. As much as I would love to have one, like a mini happy planner. I would love to have one. I have zero need for it. Like that size, not even just like the happy planner inserts, but that size. I love that size and the discs. Have no need for it. So I really, really want one, but I haven't figured out a use for it that actually fits my life. That is something I would keep up with. So I haven't bought one. But I was able, like I didn't get a Hobonichi Weeks. Or I did for 2020, but I really didn't fill it out. So then I didn't get one for 2021 because my 2019 I had filled out. 2020 I really hadn't because we all know what happened. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to get one for 2021 because I'm just going to fall off again. Well, then I ended up realizing that that would be perfect for homeschool. And by that point, all of the January starts were basically gone. So I did end up finding a January start, thankfully. But the Hobonichi Weeks worked great for a year of homeschooling. It's been working really well. I am switching out of the Hobonichi Weeks, but if I hadn't tried the Hobonichi Weeks or even knew it existed, I wouldn't have known to use that for homeschooling later on. You know what I mean? So like, I always kind of keep those sizes and what I liked about them in the back of my head so that in case something happens, I can kind of dig that back up and see if it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, but at least I could try it and say, well, this doesn't work for this and move on. Number four on the list of things I wish I had told myself or I had known before I started planning is my planner is mine and only needs to work for me, even if I share it on social media. Other people's opinion of what works for me does not matter. I need my planner to work for me, and that is it. It doesn't need to work for anybody else. It needs to work for me. It needs to get the job done for me. It needs to be just the right amount of decorative and functional to make me want to open it and use it, and it needs to help me get things done. I don't care if it looks trashy to some people or if it doesn't look as refined to some people. It works for me, it's what I enjoy, and that's all that matters, even if I share it on social media. It's really frustrating because people I guess I haven't really noticed it as much now, but maybe that's the groups that I've chosen to stay in. But people will gatekeep the shit out of you with planners, right? Like bullet journals. People will tell you it's not a true bullet journal if it's pretty. They'll tell you it's not a true bullet journal if there's all kinds of watercoloring and drawing and doodles and things that they see as unnecessary to a planner to get things done. And it's really frustrating because that is literally gatekeeping. Like you are trying to say that I am not into bullet journaling because I am into artistic bullet journaling. You don't know if that planner that they spent time of their life decorating works functionally for them or not. You don't get to make that decision because you look at it and it's too pretty. Some people, like myself, either use decorative planning as a means of stress relief. Drawing stuff out is really stress relieving if you are able to draw. And even if you're not, like it's just kind of, it's that practice makes progress kind of thing, right? Like you can draw on your planner and get better at it over time if you practice. I am certainly not very good at drawing, but I still do it because it's fun sometimes and I want to work on it a little bit and get better at it. And the only way you're going to get better at it is by starting at the basement, right? Like working your way up. Besides the people trying to gatekeep you from being a true planner or true bullet journaler, there's also the fact that comparison is a joy suck. And you see people with these amazing put together gorgeous planners and you look at yours, or at least I look at mine and I'm like, that is not that. My planner is not what I am looking at on my feed, on my Facebook, on YouTube. That's not what I see all the time. It's hard to not get into that comparison trap, especially when you're starting out. You kind of just want to join the crowd, right? You just kind of want to jump in and be like everybody else sometimes. And it takes a while to be able to stop and be like, no, I do not need to compare myself to other people that have styles very different from mine. Especially when, like myself, you have tried it and know that it doesn't work for you. I still look at minimal aesthetic planners and I'm like, gosh, if I just tried it one more time. Like, no, because then I won't use my planner and I'm wasting it again. So I just know that about myself. Maybe later on, I'll decide that that's gonna work for me, but right now it's not. So in the end, my planner is mine. Your planner is yours. You only need to make it work for you. Number 5 is that my planner needs to function for me right now. And that my planner will change. The planner itself, going from disc bound to rings to discs, bound to rings to discs is what I meant there. Or if you're changing out like the cover that you're using, or whether you're changing your system itself to account for the fact that life changes, right? The system that I started in 2015 for myself is not the system I'm using today in 2021, because I am a very different person than I was back in 2015. My life is very different than it was back then. And back then I didn't really need planning as a functional thing because I didn't have a whole lot going on. I didn't have a family to take care of. I didn't have a house. I didn't have, a car that I owned, stuff like that. Like I didn't have those things. Well, no, I had a car. But, we were in a rental and stuff. So like it wasn't a house that we had to take care of and that kind of stuff. So my life back then was really different. And so it makes complete sense that the person that I was in 2015 is not who I am in 2021. So why should my planner be? I don't want to have to force myself. If I had stayed in the planner that I had started in, I would still be in a day designer, an hourly day, a daily, like broken down by hour. I guess that would be hourly, day designer from Target. Or the planner that I went to after that was the classic size happy planner. And I know both of those don't work for me. In fact, the day designer I was only in for like a month and a half before I switched to the happy planner. And I was in the happy planner, I think, for a year and a half. I am super happy with my system right now. I am super happy with my planner that I've chosen and the cover that I've chosen. But, ask me in 6 years, and it's probably going to be a little bit different. Whether I'm still in a bullet journal or my system has changed a little bit or what have you, life's going to be very different in 6 years. So I'll probably be in a different planner. Something will have changed. And I wish I had realized that, because I went into it thinking I was going to be in this one planner forever, and I would have laughed at myself. There are people who tried they got lucky. They tried one planner and it ended up working for them. And they can carry that throughout any life change. That's kind of the great thing about bullet journaling, right? Is that you can kind of carry it with you throughout any life change and make it what you need to be. But for those that like rings and stuff too, like my first ring planners were very bright colors, cutesy characters, lots of washi and decorations and kits. And I still have a pocket rings today, and it is none of those things. It's more functional. Pretty much no decor because it's not my main planner. It's just like an extension planner. But even that has completely changed, right? So you do evolve over time, whether or not you go from minimal to decorative or vice versa. So yeah, that's just, your planner's gonna change, and it needs to work for you right now, and it's okay if it doesn't work for you, if your right now doesn't work for you later on. And finally, the final item is that no matter what planner you're in, your system, your planning system is far more important than the planner itself. So my planner system that I have going on right now is working so well for me that it doesn't really matter what planner I'm in. I can take the system to any planner and adapt it and make it work. Do I want to? Not necessarily for like the long run, but I do know, and I'm confident enough in my system that I could do that. I could go to any planner that I want. And that's what's most important, is that if you have a system that works for you, it doesn't really matter what planner you get. Then you can just kind of make the planner what's fun for you and make your system work for it. Work with it, I should say. And that's kind of an awesome thing. And I didn't have a system back in 2015. Like I said, I didn't have any plans. I didn't have any things I was really necessarily aiming for like I am now. So back then it didn't really matter if I had a planner system, but now that I have, you know, life goals and other goals that I'm trying to achieve and things I'm trying to improve a little more about myself and stuff like that, besides just like getting things done on the daily, because you have to get things done, it's the system. I am confident in my system, and that's what matters. So hopefully this video helps, especially if you're just thinking about getting started in planning. These are the things I wish I could have told myself. Maybe these things don't mean anything to you necessarily. Maybe you have some of these unlocked already and you're just starting out, which is awesome. But these are the things I wish I had told myself. These are things that I took a long time struggling with as I went through the years in the planner community, the decorative planner community. So yeah, that's basically it. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. As always, I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video.